Hi guys, Kim here. Welcome to Backyard Blooms. In today's video, I am going to talk about my two plants that I got from Southern Roots in Belmont, North Carolina. So my friend Dawn, we always hang out together. We always go to the nurseries together and always do garden tours together. Well, anyway, she asked me if I wanted to take her right out there, eat lunch. So we did. And they have a really lovely inside area that you can buy any kind of garden related. They really have a really nice garden store. So anyways, I bought a couple of new ornaments. I bought some yard art that I'm going to share with you, and I got two spectacular plants that I am very, very excited to share with you. Now, this plant was not branded by anything, but we went to the Destiny's Calling Christmas appreciation dinner, I guess is what you want to call it. And one of the girls there, she had a wonderful garden. I actually even did a garden tour on hers before. And if I could find that video, I'll link it. But I need to go back out there and do a garden tour because she has a gorgeous woodland garden right next to the lake. So I'm really excited to bring you guys along sometime in the springtime when her hostas are just now starting to come up. She's got lots and lots of hostas and a lot of shade-loving plants, I guess as you can say. So anyways, this didn't have a lot of information on it. It just had this tag called Edgeworthy, and she was telling me about how beautiful this plant is, and it's got multiple interest all season long. And I guess I even said to Dawn when I picked this up and we found it, it was really, really weird because do you know how God brings things around to you? We just talked about this plant and just looked it up. And I asked Dawn, I said, I wonder if they have this plant there at the nursery. And lo and behold, as soon as we walk into the nursery, it was there front and center, before you even enter. So they know what sells right now. And these beautiful little buds that are coming out are going to turn into gorgeous, gorgeous yellow blooms anywhere between January and March, I believe. I wrote it all down, so I'm going to still share all that information with you. But Edgeworthy is grown in zones 7 through 9. I live in Charlotte, North Carolina, zone 8. So that is my zone right now. So 7 through 9. And it's also called an Edgeworthia Chrysantha. And I also told Dawn that I was kind of concerned a little bit about it because the bark looked like a winter daphne. And when I was reading about this, it did kind of say something about, it kept on referring to like Daphne. And my Daphne did not do good here. So I'm going to try it in this location to see how it does. And, if it doesn't do good, I will never ever plant an Edgeworthia or a Daphne in this location ever again. So that's how it goes. But it's also called a paperbush. And you're like, why in the world is this called a paperbush? It's because they use the bark for real fine paper. So that's really interesting. But it really thrives in partial shade. You can, if you probably lived in a zone 7, as long as you gave it lots and lots of water, like we have everything on drip here, then you might be able to get away with it. But just in case, I'm still planting mine in partial shade, even though my zone's right in the middle between 7 and 9. I do have it. This area gets a little bit more afternoon sun, no morning sun whatsoever, but it's protected from the house up in this location right here. So we're going to give it a try. It really, really appreciates well-rich, moist soil. It has blooms that are in the springtime after it blooms. It has a lovely bluish foliage with silver undertones. So that's going to give me, it's going to give me interest in the wintertime and into the spring. And then in the fall, the foliage turns to a real nice yellow. So a really good all season around interest plant here. The young plants don't need any pruning except to remove dead or diseased foliage. When to prune the plant is after it blooms in the springtime is a good time to prune the plant if you need to. And this one gets suckers, so you want to prune the suckers away, because if you don't, it adds stress to the plant. And if I'll try to see if I could find a picture of a sucker, because I honestly would not know myself, but it looks like an unattended branch. So there you go. It is deciduous, as you can tell, so mine's already starting to like drop some of the leaves here already. And then some of them were already on the base of the plant right here, so I took them off at the nursery so I didn't make a mess in my car. And then where to plant, protection from midday sun, I already talked about that. And it really suggested near a walkway or front of the house so you can appreciate the fragrance that this plant gives off. And it blooms January through March, so I believe I said that right. And it gets how big? 4 to 6 feet tall. So I may be like concerned when this plant gets full maturity, and I may have to kind of keep it pruned as well. It's native to woodland areas in the Himalayas and China. And I already talked about when to prune. It says you can like prune on it all summer, but spring and winter, but after the blooms fade. And the blooms are going to come January to March. What else do I have for you guys? Deer don't like it, just like Daphne. It is mildly poisonous, so I need to keep Sasha away from this plant, make sure she doesn't chew on it. And it says, why is Edgeworthy called a paper bush? And I've already told you, the bark is used to make fine paper. And it spreads by rhizomes, but it's never invasive. And it's real easy to cut roots if you want to propagate it. And water needs, it's just frequent watering, which I don't have to water because I have drip. But now, I am planting this in the wintertime. My drip is off. So if it does not like rain in the next 2 to 3 weeks, and I feel like this is pretty moist right now, I may want to give it some water. So just kind of keep that in mind. So we're going to get this planted. I did bring my root slayer out here to help me dig, because this is a really big root base right here. See? Pretty big, huh? So I'm bringing my root slayer out. I am going to go get my power planter. I didn't grab that. And as always, 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 my biotone, because this helps roots get started. I'm about ready to choke because it smells a little bit. My nose is running because it's a little cool out here. As you can see, I have my hat on. And then I got my Felco 2 pruners, because my next little plant that I'm going to plant is right here where this clematis is. I'm going to remove that and plant my next plant. But let's get this planted first. Really excited about it. And keep watching so you can find out my next plant that I'm going to talk about. And I do want to show you my ornaments and my yard art that I got at the store. So let's get to planting. So tip number 1 is that you don't want to plant this too deep in clay soil. You can tell this has already been amended because I had something here before, but I do have heavy clay soil and it wants to hold on to water, which is good and bad, but you want to make sure that you have it above the soil level as well. Maybe a little bit more in there. Okay. And then I try to, like, wherever I see it the best, make sure you like maneuver it to where you like it the best. And then I'm going to take the rest of the soil that I got out of there and I'm going to use all of it to mound up around it. So you can see how this base right here is above the soil level. And this is my drip right here. It came with some really good mulch on top of it, so I'm going to put that back over there. Now I do have my Mary boots on, and you see, love my Mary boots. Mary boots, if you want to send me out a new pair of boots, I'll be glad to promote them for you, which I already do because I love them so much. I'll make sure I tag Mary boots. All right, so all this really, really nice mulch, I'm going to bring it back on top here. Now, if you already have an Edgeworthia and you want to fertilize it, they said the best thing to do to fertilize it is just to put some good organic matter on it in the wintertime, and that will help it bloom. Keeping the tag on it here so I can just remember. There are different types of Edgeworthia, but this one didn't like tell me like what its name was. And my soil is already pretty moist, so I don't see any use of watering it right now because it will be absorbed through this clay. All right, so I just tapped it down with my boots, as you saw, just so I can get good air pockets out. You don't want to leave air pockets in there because then it can cause your roots to die. That's another tip for you. Giving out lots of tips today, aren't I? I mainly do this so new gardeners can like learn how like I plant things. I know most of you that have already been gardening your garden for a while, you already know and you've already seen me plant things like a million times. But for your new gardeners out there, I like to still demonstrate. So I probably won't demonstrate as much on this next plant, but I do need to remove all of that foliage up against the house. And that is a type of clematis, and it never really bloomed this year, but my husband is a little bit leery of, what is it? Poison ivy. So the vines kind of like freak him out a little bit, and the vines did go everywhere. I already cut a little bit of the vines. So for this area, it's not really good, and it didn't get enough sun to bloom. So I'm going to go ahead and remove that. But look at my next plant that I want to tell you about. Yes, it looks like a bunch of sticks right now, doesn't it? Nothing but sticks, but it is through Monrovia, as you can see. And let me see the tag up here. Let's see if I can pull it off. So you can tell it's already got some like really nice buds on it, so it's already budding off, which means I do not want to prune those off right now. But what is this, guys? Can you guess, like by looking at it? So you know it's a vine, right? Because it's got a plant support up there, and then it's got like long, what do you call these little things? Long branches that you can help train up a trellis. So this one is called Lacy Hearts. It is a false hydrangea vine, a false one. Have you ever heard of such? This is new to me. And it says that it takes partial sun, which is why I'm putting it here. Let me tell you about it. This just tells about Monrovia. Grow confidently, grow responsibly, and grow beautifully. Sounds good to me. Does it sound good to you? All right, so let's talk about this self-clinging vine. It gets 15 feet tall after it's trained. a rare selection of Japanese hydrangea vine chosen for foliage that nearly shimmers, often accented with white lace-cap hydrangea-like blooms in the summer. This self-clinging vine makes a dramatic statement by virtue of its foliage alone. It is deciduous, as you can tell. It looks like sticks. So I'm pretty excited about this one. This one was $69.99, just to give you an idea. Here in December of 2024, that's the price. I know plants have gone up a lot. This plant would probably cost $30, $40, maybe when I started gardening about 6 or 7 years ago. So it does not show me the flowers, but I'll try to look it up. Let's see if I can find it for you. But there's the tag. That's what it looks like right there. So I'm going to use my Felco 2 pruners, which I love because I have a small hand. These make a great Christmas gift. If you guys are still struggling and Amazon can get these to you and you don't know what to get your mama or your sister or any kind of gardener, these Felco 2 pruners will last forever and they're a great, great investment to get. If you don't have any for yourself, get you some. I'll have that link in my description. So I'm going to use this to cut all this vine down. I'm actually going to dig the plant up and re-gift it to my neighbor. And her area, she would love for this vine to like grow and cover her whole trellis that she has. And I think it will definitely do that because you can see it is big. And I'll bring the camera around and show you like what it looks like right now. And I think it will bloom in her area because it's going to get more sun. All right, so there is my Edgeworthia that's already planted. And these are the blooms that are going to come out in January through March and bloom for me. But boy, does it still look like a Daphne, which is concerning. But anyways, we're going to give it a try. And then this is the clematis. And my tag is underneath there somewhere. I have no idea where. Let's see if I can find it. Oh, here it is. All right, so this one is called Summer Snow Clematis. So I am going to gift this to Miss Diane that lives down the street. She's going to love it. I'm actually going to use the same bucket to put in there, to put the plant in there. All right. So she's not going to want all of this. So we're just going to, geez, man, it's massive. Oh, and it's like stuck down into the mulch too. All right, so let me just start cutting. You guys, this is my first time doing this, so you're seeing me do this brand new and live. Never done this before, cutting a clematis like this, except for mine that I do prune back each year. I have cut that back. This is my trellis. Let's see. Just kind of cut it off here. Get it all pulled off. I'm just cutting away until I get down to the base of the plant here. And at the base, cut everything away down here at the bottom. All right. Wow, it's like planted down in there, you guys. I guess this is easily rooted in, huh? I really don't want this plant to grow again. don't think I'm getting all the roots. There we go. Got it that time. Oh, wow, look at this thing, you guys. It's massive. Oh, she's gonna love it. Miss Diane's gonna love this plant. All right. I want to give as much root base as I can. Oh. Just kind of use your root slayer to cut all the way around it. This is great for breaking up perennials, moving things around. It's awesome. All right, let's see what we got. There we go. Got a lot of the roots there. I'll put it in there and make sure I have my tag for it as well. Okay. All right, I'm gonna take my root slayer and dig up a little bit more of this dirt. If you have drip, make sure you don't dig into your drip because it's hard to fix. I got a root there. All right. Until I got more hard clay right here. See, that's what it looks like. So if you look at my garden, yes, you can plant in hard clay, you guys. Fine everywhere. So I do want to kind of make sure I center it right here, probably. All right, so I'm going to take this out. Came out nicely. And then I like to fill the dirt in here. I'm going to do that. All right, so I'm going to give you another tip. When I developed this garden here on the side 2 years ago, I put 2 to 3 inches of compost onto this ground plus 2 to 3 inches of mulch. So whenever I dig into it, I'm already amending into the ground already. So you can tell it's pretty much amended here. But if it's not amended, you can throw 1 to 2 big handfuls depending on the hole. So for this hole, this size right here, I would probably do 2 handfuls of compost with all my original clay. You always want to continue to use your clay. Look, I'm still continuing to get grubs, you guys. Yeah. And then of course, no matter whether it's amended or not, I use this biotone. Make sure you have it 1 to 2 inches above the ground so it'll drain well. I think this looks good. Let's see. Let's bring it around here because this is a stem right here. And then I could bring these up around it here. Start training it around it. All right. That looks good. And then I take all this original soil, no matter what, and put it back in the hole. Okay. And then step on it all the way around. Now, I will not fertilize this one at all until spring when I go ahead and do all my other ones. So for me, my zone 8, I usually do it late March, early April. When these things start to bud out is a great time to let you know for your zone, no matter where you're at, when these little things start to bud out and you start to get some green, that's a perfect time to give it some fertilizer. And for this one, I would use rose tone. I could use, not garden tone, plant tone or rose tone. Holly tone could be another good one too. But honestly, for me, I'm going to use rose tone along with my other hydrangeas. Jenny at Creekside and Laura with Garden Answer, they say the same thing. To let you know, we all say the same thing. And Laura, and I think even Jenny at Creekside, they're sponsored by Espoma. So they asked them, they got to talk to them, and they said for a hydrangea, even though this is a false hydrangea, that the rose tone is the best. I bring some of this mulch up against it to protect it here in the wintertime. There we go. And then, of course, we can just start training these little thingies too around here. What this thing is. I think they're going to stay pretty good. I don't even have to, well, maybe not. I don't even really have to. And then, of course, we can just start training these little thingies too around here. What this thing is. I think they're going to stay pretty good. I don't even have to, well, maybe not. I don't even really have to. Looking at, there is my false hydrangea. Pretty interesting, huh? I need to make a tag for it as well. There's my root slayer. This one was a Monrovia, and this one over here did not have a brand name. The Edgeworthia. Okay, so there's both plants from my plant haul from Southern Roots, and I'll throw the address up there for you if you're local. This is my next project. Did anybody else's garden look like this? Have not had time to get over here and prune anything back. I need to Google some things and whether I can prune, but I'm thinking this hydrangea, I'm thinking I can prune that because look how sad it looks. And then my gomphrena needs to be pulled up, as you can see. Yeah, so this is my next project for you guys. What to prune over here on this west side garden. So now let's go inside. Let's go inside, and I'm going to show you my ornaments on my Christmas tree. And I just did a little Christmas special because I had help filming with Miss Betty. But if you guys are interested in that, you can check that out. So let's go inside and look at my Christmas ornaments. There's Miss Foxy Roxy. Say hello, garden friends. Hello. Say hello. You bark. You speak. Ruff. Ruff. She's not going to speak. No. All right, so this is my Christmas tree, and I say that this is my nature Christmas tree. The most things that I love the most are my owls. But I got this one at Southern Roots last year, and they had that one again. Let's see, what did I get this year? Oh, these. These right here I thought would go really, really good onto my tree. They're very pretty, don't you think? And they got like little limbs, and I guess that is a pine cone, not an acorn, you guys. It's got some little crystals on it too. And then down here, this one is a acorn. Laugh out loud. And I got this one too. So I bought 2 of these and 3 of the other ones. And it's pretty full. So I really don't decorate the back of the tree because you can't see it in that corner. My mantle, I like to keep pretty simple. Okay, so while I'm here, this is where I want to put my yard art. Do you see this magnolia tree that's right outside the window there? I'm going to hang my yard art on that tree where I could see it every single day. And let's go see what it looks like. So if you hear noise, I don't know where it's all coming from, but this is my yard art right here. It's got a little bird on it. Turn it around. It's like a little bell. So we're going to go hang it on this magnolia tree over here. All right, so I had to go through a couple of branches to pull it through. So I wanted to make sure I put it on a real sturdy branch up there, as you can see. And here it is hanging down. And that way I can see it inside too as well. Do you guys like it? Do you love it? So all these things were bought at Southern Roots. All right, guys, I hope this was inspirational for you in your garden. Even though it's December for my zone 8, my yard never does freeze, so I can still plant. So as long as your garden is not frozen, you can still plant. Now, you can do perennials. Like, you don't want to plant an annual that's going to be really tender because that's going to die. But hardy perennials, shrubs, trees, as long as your ground is not frozen, you can still plant and you will get some root development going before it gets hot next year. So make sure you like, share, and subscribe. I hope this was very helpful, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye, friends.